welcome back to Sunny Sunny Limerick, I sort of guess. It's the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships, live from the University of Limerick. Beautiful complex here. And the Masters Open Division, where we turn to now, is moving into bracket play, and we've got a tasty little pre-quarters matchup for you, featuring King Louie of the USA up against Dead Circus of Canada. My name is Benjamin Rees, and it is a pleasure, as always, to be joined by the wonderful Gigi Morrison.
Thank you very much, Benji. I am very excited for this matchup as we start to move into the tail end of the tournament. We're on day 5 of WMUCC. As you mentioned, this is the pre-quarter matchup. Both of these teams have had eyes on the top 16, have thankfully made it, and are looking to perform really well in this top 16 bracket. This game could be pivotal in their final results.
Yeah, you win this game, the lowest you can finish is 8th, and if you lose it, the highest you can finish is 9th. So we'll go a long way in determining your final position. Both sides, speaking to them before the game, said their aim coming into the tournament was to make the top 16. Both of those sides have achieved that aim, and now it's a question of what can they do in the bracket. As the ball comes from Pierre Daigle. And King Louie beginning on offense here. Opening up plenty of space underneath. Brennan dishes off. Wojtek just about sneaks that past the defender into Jones. Jones back to Wojtek. Low sliding to the turf and making the catch is Eshman. Eshman back to Wojtek. Keeping it very calm at the moment. Getting the nice gainers when they can, but also happy to play it around the back, and they've worked their way right into the red zone now. On the doorstep of the end zone. Can they find a way to force it in? And a simple little pop pass for the goal from Jarvis to Brennan will make it 1-0. And that is a clean, confident hold from King Louie.
Clean was the word that I was going to use to describe that, Benji, taking the words right out of my mouth, but that was some textbook offense. King Louie doing really well to maintain some momentum, keep the disc moving. As we see that quick dish towards the front of the end zone. Jarvis having to maintain concentration for an extra second, giving off the quick dish to Brennan. Fantastic first point for King Louie.
Yeah, nice mix of getting some good yards with positive cuts downfield and resetting between the handlers to keep stall counts low and give their cutters a little bit of space to work. There is some wind, as you would expect here in Limerick. Not as strong as it has been.
Yeah, this is definitely the best weather that we've had so far, at least consistently the best weather today. We only had one patch of sideways rain as compared to constant sideways rain. Yeah,
one really bad downpour, but otherwise we've just had some smatterings here and there. Despite the dramatic skies in the background, actually it's quite nice ultimate playing conditions. You'd probably ask for a little bit of maybe calmer wind, but it will really test your throwing skills. Dead Circus pick up. Nice upline cut to begin the possession by Gray, and he just about gets that past the ears of Hankey into the red zone, into the end zone, and into the goal in the hands of Dave Archibald.
That was so close. Hankey getting within centimeters of the disc. We asked Dead Circus before the game what kind of style and structure they usually play in terms of offensive flow, and they said it's very North American style, a lot of huck and D. I guess that comes from having a strong background in the AUDL and some of the USAU club teams.
Yeah, you've got big, powerful throwers, and often like to set up those isolation style plays downfield to get those receivers in plenty of space and trust themselves to play intense, tight one-on-one defense. I think that'll be a hallmark maybe of both these sides.
Okay, so far 2 clean holds for both teams. Could be an interesting matchup for the rest of this game.
Pierre Daigle tries to pull it into the wind now. Wind is going from right to left as you look at it on your camera. Gets a lot of air underneath this one. That's a solid pull as well, some nice hang time, and it lands pretty much on the brick mark. Coming underneath is Brell. Brel towards the far sideline. Faking that inside look. Cutters struggling to free themselves, so the reset goes to Morgan instead. Nice continuation to the break side for Wojtek. Wojtek lasers an inside flick past the bidding defender, and because the defender's on the floor, there's no mark, and the deep throw doesn't connect.
You're just catching the downwind a little too much. It's sailing past the receiver. We get to watch that bid again. Dead Circus putting their bodies on the line to try and get the D here. And just off the fingertips for Brel.
Yeah, just never quite got himself in the correct position there. Dead Circus will get the game's first break opportunity. Daigle goes up line, but he doesn't get the disc. Now they're scrabbling for a reset. Goes short to Daigle. Daigle, who wants to jack this deep, a beautiful put into the wind. Antonin Savoy. McIsaac finds an option in the end zone. There's the upwind score that will give Dead Circus the upper hand early on in this contest. And it's Tyler Smith with the goal. And you're seeing there the fine margins. King Louie was so close to that hold, but they couldn't snatch it. And Dead Circus work all the way against the wind for 2-1.
Slight error for King Louie on their offense, giving Dead Circus the opportunity. They now have their first break with the emphatic spike into the grass. Dead Circus must be happy with that one. They did extremely well. That laser forehand up the pitch, almost making it look as if the wind did not exist.
2-1, Dead Circus lead now, seeing some interested parties on the sideline and some slightly less interested parties, but they're young. I don't think they quite understand the full joys of Ultimate yet. We'll let them off. Hello to friends and families watching at home on the WFDF YouTube channel. It is a pleasure to have you along with us.
We do have a shout out request from the King Louie side. Number 34 Troy Wojtek and Emma are wanting to give a shout out to their kids, Felicity, Michael, Caleb and Faye, watching at home. Hope you are enjoying the coverage this week.
So King Louie back on offense. Nice break towards the far sideline there for Hankey. Centering pass, there's an underneath option, a couple of them in fact. Goes to Larson with those very patriotic leggings. Larson rips it deep, and it's perfectly in stride for Daniel Brennan, catching his and King Louie's second goal at 2 apiece. Lovely put into the wind that from Larson.
Larson saw exactly what Dead Circus were doing in that last point. Seeing the beautiful upwind flick, responding with his own, giving complete separation for the receiver. And as you mentioned, yes, the very patriotic leggings, the American flag colors right into the breadbasket of the receiver. Emphatic cheer in celebration.
There is something about the USA that the Stars and Stripes feels like it lends itself to various pieces of apparel better than certain other flags do. Like USA leggings, I think you can get away with, but like great, but like Union flag leggings, I don't think would have quite the same style quality to them.
No, it gives the air of colonialism a bit too much.
Yeah, does a tad, although I don't know, maybe get an Irish flag on there? I'm trying to remember the Irish flag is and I can't. That's shameful. Oh yes I can. Oh yeah, that might work. Yeah. Yeah, orange, white and green. I'm down.
Just make sure you get the colours the right way round, otherwise you'll get the Côte d'Ivoire flag.
Yeah, or you don't rotate them, otherwise you'll get the Indian flag.
Just without the wheel.
Yes. That ball is rolling, rolling, rolling. Like early noughties Limp Bizkit. That's going to go into that little trench behind the stands. We might need to get the backup game disc.
That has indeed been put into play. Thankfully, the volunteers and the game advisors are very switched on.
Nice little bit of banter going on between the players and game advisors. I will say that Dead Circus were very happy with the way that they'd been pulling so far this tournament. Nice low release break. Cowper Smith gets it out to Archibald. Archibald, little centering pass, get it off the line slightly to Martin James. James, nice undercut there for Trevor. Dishing it off, Creaser. In short order to Archibald. Now comes underneath is James. There's a lot of players on this line with first names for surnames. Not sure how I feel about that. Here's Creaser. Can they stay patient? Or will they get the temptation before the mistake? No, it's to turf. Thorne couldn't reel it in. King Louie can break back. And they want to do so in style, looking for the back of the end zone. Really well contested. Nice little congratulatory slap on the chest there between Larson and Gray. Nice fair matchup, both players going up for it. And I'll tell you what, Gray's done a brilliant job there, given that he doesn't really have eyes on the disc, but he times the jump well and doesn't even create that much contact, if any. Yeah,
Gray doing a fantastic job to maintain separation with his mark. As you said, completely blind D. I am enjoying Cowper Smith's fakes. It almost looks like he's going to do the forehand flick through the legs.
Yeah, they're quite idiosyncratic, I think. High release break to Gray on the far side. Having got that D, now trying to power the D-line up, the offense on the turn. In fact, it's not even D-line offense, it's O-line offense. That's right on the back there is Brell. Uncontested foul. I think to the surprise of no one.
You're almost getting carried by the dead Circus player like a backpack.
And very apologetic about it, understandably. Not a good bid, but happens, and everything seems to be in good spirits as it's checked in. And Archibald finds James. James now to Cowper Smith. Still rising, gets the upline strike cut to Gray. Gray just sneaking that one in there. James on the edge of the end zone. Will they try and break off the line or squeeze it in there? Still rising, it's gone for the squeeze and it's floated, and King Louie steal it back. Just stagnated in the red zone there. Didn't look like there was a whole lot of movement, Gigi.
Yeah, they were moving very well down the pitch, generating a lot of cuts and creating space for each other. But King Louie able to respond by getting the D.
Yeah, Brell shoots it deep, and Marciniak makes the catch on the end zone line. Looking to get the break back, dishing it off back to Brell. That huck deep gained an awful lot of yards, and the little pop into the end zone for the score. Finds Alan Jones. And that makes it 3-2. King Louie get their break back.
Jones's cut there was extremely difficult to mark. So he's moving towards the front end of the end zone. Open side completely blocked off. Starts to cut towards the break side. So the defender bites on it, but then gives away the open side completely for a tiny little dish. Very blady dish at that, giving King Louie another score. We just get to watch that back, that fantastic defensive pressure.
Yeah, the throw sailed. Hankey gobbles it up. And then, just as you mentioned, a little bit of edge on the flick, but at that distance, not a problem from George Brell to Alan Jones. And it is 3-2 to King Louie. Game going back on serve here at the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships. Masters Open Division, pre-quarter final.
Remember, if you are enjoying the coverage so far from WMUCC, you can watch it all back and all of our upcoming games as well, live from the WFDF YouTube channel, completely free, provided by Ulti TV.
Hello to our viewers in the past, about 5 or 6 hours in the past, on the other side of the Atlantic, whether you're cheering for Dead Circus, King Louie, or just a neutral, interested party. Hopefully you're enjoying the coverage as that disc instantly shot deep by Cowper Smith, but way out of reach.
Huge backhand throw onto the break side. Again, Cowper Smith with the huge fakes, moving the mark out of the way, but also moving the disc too far out of the pitch.
So disc broadening from that front cone. Quite a flat force here. Maybe trying to allow the swings in order to stop any upfield movement. But they get the strike cut and they instantly put it deep. That's a really good grab under pressure there from Brennan. Instantly dishes off to Eschman. Eschman to Hankey, playing it quickly after that big look. Now back in the hands of Morgan. Bit of physicality on the handler reset cut. Gets it off and then to Wojtek. Wojtek to Story. Story with the stall count rising, just trying to keep the disc moving, keep that stall count low. Trying to get organised now in the end zone, faking the inside flick. Going to have to go around. Zinging it in there, but the throw had the wrong edge on it, and it was easily smacked away by Daigle.
Daigle had eyes on that throw, immediately had the first step, and just had to take a few more sprint steps through to slap that disc down, giving Dead Circus yet another chance to get this hold.
Archibald floats one out for James in the centre of the pitch and gets it back. Bespectacled Archibald. That's a really nice little tongue twister, especially after a few pints of the local.
And respectable, you could use either word.
The bespectacled Archibald, yeah, that'll do. As they shoot down the sideline, and despite the outstretched arm of Ryan Stewart, it's not going to go to hand.
So quite a few turnovers in this point now. The wind has definitely been an extra factor in this game. Throughout today, it has been not as windy as it has been on previous days.
But it is definitely still there. And when you're going in this direction, it can at times feel like an eighth defender. Nice undercut from Hankey. Hankey putting it deep again, no fear putting it into the wind. Eschman's the receiver this time with those gloved hands. Quite short-cut shorts. Hankey's throw, this one's going to float and sail, and well defended there by James.
The very tall stature of James, able to get his hands over the top. No problem in not getting any sort of contact on the King Louie offenders.
Yeah, not for the first time this point. They've had it in the red zone, but Dead Circus have managed to earn the disc back, and now with everything looking a little bit at 6s and 7s, they're going to take a timeout, and this makes sense to me.
Yeah, there's been a fair few turnovers, a lot of mistakes from both sides. They'll hopefully be able to figure out what they need to do in order to iron out those mistakes a little bit, give themselves a break.
And we're going to have a little bit of a break here in the booth as well, but don't go anywhere because this open pre-quarter final continues shortly. Welcome back to Limerick for the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships Open Masters pre-quarter final action between King Louie and Dead Circus, with Dead Circus calling the timeout here just outside their own end zone after a point that's got a little bit scrappy.
Yeah, fair few turnovers in this previous point. We saw the first 2 points being relatively clean, a couple of holds, but King Louie able to get some breaks involved. Dead Circus now trying to answer and get themselves level again.
Fakes the quick give off. Smith goes back to Gray. Gray now to Cowper Smith. Into the hands of James. Tall James finds another lean figure in Archibald. Wants to roll this around the mark, does so well as he finds Smith. Tyler Smith sees an option in the end zone and exploits that seam effortlessly. It took a while, but the timeout had the desired effect, as the throw to Martin James will make it 3-all.
King Louie had poached up a little bit from their players, maybe trying to anticipate getting a little bit of a block and making sure that this wind was going to play another role in making things very difficult for Dead Circus to be able to convert, but that poach was not effective. We saw an extremely precise throw into James in the end zone, leveling things up at 3-3.
So on serve at the moment, Dead Circus got an early break that King Louie were able to earn back.
There we go, Louie!
And now testing out the wind, getting ready to pull against it is Josh Millard. Been told that he is a phenomenal puller. So hopefully we haven't put the...
You've just jinxed him, Benji.
I was trying to think of the unreal, the fake, the fictitious, that's the word, the fictitious commentator's curse on him, because it's not a thing. Nothing we say has any impact. How could it?
I can guarantee that I can collate a bunch of commentators' curses that you yourself have made.
Correlation does not imply causation, Gigi.
For Jason.
Shush. Nice little high release backhand with that lefty there. Mackenzie, you know what I was trying to say. Morgan. To Larson. To the far side is Jarvis now. Back to Morgan Central. Decent yard gainer there, and then moving it quickly to the handler running through, catching it immediately, looking at the end zone, not seeing a cut that he likes. Resetting around into the centre of the pitch, a little bit of a bump there, but happy to absorb the contact and play on. Did look like he tried to pull out, but just couldn't quite do so in time, as Larson, I think, maybe was thinking about the next throw, and the disc goes out of his hands. Dead Circus wastes no time, want to strike while the iron is hot in picking up the dead disc. Back into the hands of Mascarin. Mascarin goes around, and another casual drop there, this time from Millard.
Yeah, a lot of these catches are actually very difficult to be able to gain possession of. Just again, thinking about the wind, trying to make sure that you are very strong-footed, I guess. Like making sure that your center of gravity is correct in catching every disc.
And if you can't get on the right side of the matchup downfield, it's going to cause a little bit of a problem as Brell just streaked to the open side. Defender on his shoulder. Nothing they could do to make it 4-3.
So King Louie now bringing us back on serve. They're calling themselves a timeout as well, probably wanting to collect their thoughts.
Yeah, see if they can find a way perhaps to carve out an upwind break as well. And we're going to take a little break in the booth as well, and we'll be right back with you.
The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. Ultimate TV.
Welcome back to the University of Limerick, the venue for the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships, and we bring you action from the Masters Open Division, a pre-quarter-final matchup between King Louie of St. Louis in the USA and Dead Circus from Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. It is Benji Reese and Gigi Morrison in the booth here to bring you this broadcast courtesy of OTTV live on the WFDF YouTube channel, and the World Flying Disc Federation is supporting and promoting the global advancement of disc sports and, most importantly of all, the spirit of the game.
Yeah, this has been a very tight match so far. King Louie having gotten themselves a break early on after Dead Circus leveled them out, but we are now back on serve. King Louie up 4-3.
Yeah, having just taken a timeout here, seeing if they can find a way to chip away at the Dead Circus defense. and bring down the big top, if you will, and get an upwind break. Cowper Smith will pick up the disc. Down the far side. This should be swung into the centre, I think it is. Underneath comes James, trying to get this offence moving the disc quickly. Player wide open in space, wants to lead him all the way into the end zone, and Cowper Smith gets the connection into the end zone with the goal.
Yeah, Archibald, one of their top receivers for Dead Circus before this game, having 10 assists and 6 goals to his name. So very strong showing from Dead Circus so far, bringing it up to 4-4.
Yeah, they like to distribute the workload around the roster, but there are certain players that find themselves in or around the end zone, perhaps more often than others, and Archibald is chief among those. That goal, now his 8th of the tournament, and his 2nd of the game. Shout out to Bucky, who's our statistician for this game. The fixer, we call him, because whatever you need, somehow he's got it. What a man. He's going to give me a cola bottle now as a reward because I've been nice.
Does he have any vegan ones?
He does
Shakes
not.
the head. Well, I'm disappointed.
All right,
now.
I might take back his nickname as the fixer then. He can't fix that.
Statistician leaving the booth.
Have you considered just not being... I'm joshing you, don't worry.
Wow.
This ball is going to drift out of the sideline. Got good distance on it, but the edge just slowly floated it away.
We have seen quite a few on this pitch where they are sailing quite close to the sideline or even just completely out of bounds. Some teams actually choosing to take it from the sideline as they are far too far down the pitch to take it from the brick mark.
Yeah, that one though is bricked. And King Louie wastes no time in getting the offense rocking and rolling. Here's Brennan. Brennan going downfield, no, fakes it, instead goes back to Hankey. Morgan. Low, but caught comfortably by Hankey anyway. Wants that throw and go with the flick. Stops, goes back into the backfield, has the defender on their heels. Nice change of direction and momentum. Trying to see that into the end zone. Wow, just an outstretched arm from Morgan past the bidding defender, and Eschman finds his target to make it 5-4 to King Louie.
A casual catch from Morgan there. No stress about it whatsoever. King Louie doing very well to maintain some really good flow throughout this point. For a nice easy score into the hands of number 13, shout out to Max Morgan. You'll actually see on the King Louie kit, they have a black stripe across the left sleeve with the initials CP. That is in remembrance of one of their teammates who was actually really fighting and pushing to get a team out to Masters Championships, but has unfortunately passed away during the COVID period. Yeah, we spoke to John Henroyd, who you could see there on the camera wearing the crown, and you could see the CP armband on his sleeve as well, was saying how excited that CP was to get a team to Masters and to make it here. And yeah, unfortunately passed away during the pandemic, but hopefully watching somewhere, and his teammates are out there doing him proud. And a lovely little gesture, I think, that. Cowper Smith will pick up. Faking that backhand. Happy to lose yards to keep the distance moving, and they get the instant break to Thorne. Thorne fakes central. Dishes instead to Cowper Smith, looking downfield. Martin James looking, going central. Popped off by Stewart. Stewart has it back now, shooting down the far sideline. Oh, that offense was poetry in motion from Dead Circus. You can tell that they have a few set plays and structures that they want to run. James seems to be one of the receivers on the end of that set structure, but beautiful flow, just keeping the disc moving, trying to maintain the momentum and trying to keep the defenders on their back foot, not giving them a chance to set up properly and anticipate their next move. It's very classic North American style of ultimate, of lots of give-goes, some bigger throws as well thrown in there.
Yeah, Dead Circus is kind of the extension of Red Circus, which is the, I don't know what you'd call that, the regular age division?
Senior.
Senior, yeah, but seniors sounds like the old people, which ironically is not the old. You know what I mean, right?
Yes.
Yes, but I guess seniors in the sense of not juniors. I'll stop digging.
Adults.
Yes, Red Circus is the normal Open Division team for them, and yeah, as is the fashion with the Masters team, you make it a pun on your regular team name. So Red Circus becomes Dead Circus.
I think my favorite is still Molly Gray. That's got to be my favorite punny Masters name.
I think my favorite name here overall is the American team in the Great Grandmasters division, No Country. Of course, for old men. I thought it was very good. Here we go, back on offense with King Louie, proudly representing St. Louis, Missouri. Blade down the sideline. This is spicy, and it was a tricky read for Brell. He went up with one hand, and the disc, just the height of it dropped a little bit.
He appears to have left quite a large dent in the pitch there, having to pick up and fix and puzzle piece together a patch of grass again.
Taking a nice divot out of the turf, and then, as is good etiquette, putting it back in place. Millard, you see that towel sticking out the back of his shorts in these wet, slightly slippery conditions. I think that's a good move. Always worth taking a second to dry the disc if you've got it, rather than just have it slip out of your hands. Millard goes underneath. Big undercut from Dennis. Blading it over the top. Not a problem for Daigle. Daigle wants to lead into the end zone. And the throw hopped in with aplomb by Barcelou. Break upwind for Dead Circus. They retake the lead. Their first since they were 2-1 up, and it is now 6-5 in the Canadians' favour. Nice back and forth contest, this.
Yeah, a few turnovers in that point, but after making and breaking through into the deep space, Dead Circus able to convert onto a break. We can hear some of the sideline chanting that the stack was too deep, which was fair enough. The disc was stagnant up towards the handler space, but this deep shot is what made the offense for them. And then Daigle with the floaty backhand into the end zone. There were 3, maybe even 4 defenders getting very, very close, within centimeters of getting right in the way, but not quite enough.
It's a little bit like, you know, you see in the cartoons when they attach like a stick to someone's head and they put like a chocolate bar handling from it, and every time they chase it, it feels like it gets further and further away because they can never catch up to it.
Yes?
Well, it's a bit like that in the sense that they're running and they feel like they're getting close to the disc, but it's actually the same distance away all the time.
I'm not sure I'd play Frisbee if that was
I just mean on that
the way it's played.
I just mean on that occasion with the placement and weight of the throw.
Right, not just having a disc attached to the head and having to run towards it.
You don't have to take things so literally. Coming underneath is Hanky. Nice little pop off there. Again, they're trying to get the handlers in these power positions, collecting the disc, already looking downfield so they can get it moving quickly. On the near sideline now is Larson. And I think there's a pick somewhere that I've missed. Getting it back into play quickly and too quickly. Violation, I think maybe not everyone downfield was ready.
The players thankfully using the woof of hand signals. The sport is self-refereed, which means it's the responsibility of the players to make their own calls and discussions, but they can gain some clarification from game advisors.
Yeah, you'll see them on the sideline in the green jerseys. They do not provide binding rulings, but they can provide rules clarifications and perspectives if asked. Larson wants to sit this one out into space. Thought it might entice the poached defender, and he got close, but not quite close enough.
Jones doing really well to not be bitten under pressure from the dead Circus defender there.
So not much between these two sides. No one's ever been more than just a point ahead. Last time Dead Circus were able to get the upwind break. King Louie put in their upwind offense and then broke immediately downwind. We'll see if that history is repeated here.
This definitely shows credit that both of these teams 100% deserve to be in this game as well. You can sometimes go into tournaments where there's been a mismatch of seedings, or some games have gone a little bit askew onto the wrong end, but having tight games like this, particularly in the pre-quarters, is super exciting. It just shows and gives credit to how strong a lot of these teams are.
Yeah, it shows the quality and depth of the Masters Open division here. As you mentioned, pre-quarter-final matchup between King Louie and Dead Circus. Watching it live on the World Flying Disc Federation YouTube channel. Hello to everyone watching in the comments. Nice roll stopping of that pull. Feels minimal, but can be a really important job to prevent yourself getting pinned at the back of your own end zone. Underneath the tattooed figure of Daigle, who absolutely jacks it. Rips that upwind to James. And James wants to put that leading throw into space for Creaser to make it 7-6. A hell of a throw upwind there from Daigle. We were told that he can throw it upwind, and we were not misinformed.
Yes, exactly. If you're wanting to get a throwing masterclass, then this is one of the games to watch. Some of these players are extremely well seasoned in throwing upwind, but also their break shots. That break shot from James into the end zone sat so flat and well in front of the receiver. Absolutely effortless for him to have to jog onto. You get another look at that offensive play. Big fake into the backhand shot. James, being a very tall and imposing receiver, sees a few players moving down with him.
It's interesting because although he's a tall receiver, you think the temptation would be, we'll just put it up and see if he can, box it out, sky someone. But actually, why make it harder than you have to? Just keep it nice and flat and zipped through so he doesn't have to do too much work.
Particularly upwind, because if you throw it too high, it's just going to fly.
It's going to A, just kind of float back, or B, invite everyone and their mother to just crowd underneath it and try and get the disc.
Their mother being the 15th player on the pitch.
Hey, it's the open division.
True. Too many players on the pitch, though, at once.
Just take an injury sub, it'll be fine. That pull is going to just drift out of this sideline, eventually out of bounds, trying to pin them deep. See this quite often, actually. More teams now going to get these, perfection 10 out of 10 pulls. And yes, sometimes they might go out for a brick, but they feel the trade-off is there if it means you can pen someone deep and steal a break from a short field. Checked in by Wojtek. Low throw, that's a nice outstretched arm to snag that from Eshman. And a big gainer downfield. They're gaining so much yardage with all of these cuts, but the throw is a little bit behind from Marciniak, and it couldn't be reeled in by Larson. Stu McDonald strides, looking to break for half. And the upline throw is just overcooked, and Wojtek slaps it to the ground, although I think it was going to get there anyway, but why take the risk?
Yeah, just wanting to make sure. You'd usually ask to catch your Ds, but in this case, giving it a good slap down is probably just as good.
Eshman faking the scuba. Haven't necessarily seen that he's going to put that, but a brilliant layout saves possession. He's not quite in the end zone just yet, but is right on the precipice now. Dumping it back, wanting getting it off the line, back to Eshman, swinging it, now wanting to attack the break side, redirecting traffic, and then the offhand backhand into the front of the end zone will take us to 7-7, and we've got another Galaxy point.
Galaxy points aplenty, Benji. This is probably one of your favorite times of a game, but fantastic effort from King Louie. Little bit jinky and jivey at times, but they managed to maintain some composure and get things moving.
Shout out to Grant Eshman, by the way, because we'll see it again here. This is some bid, because he lands reasonably heavily as well. And yeah, good focus and hand strength not to ground strip himself on the landing there. And then you're just seeing, playing it back and forth before Morgan goes for that, let's be honest, fluttery offhand backhand, but it works all the same to Jones, makes it 7 apiece, and while the two sides take a timeout before this Galaxy point, we'll have a little breather as well, but don't go anywhere because we return after these messages. The University of Limerick is the location for the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships, and we are bringing you action from the Open Masters Division. And it's a pre-quarter final between King Louie of St. Louis, USA, up against Dead Circus from Halifax, Canada. And it is 7-all, and we've got Galaxy Point. Would you like to explain to those at home, Gigi, who are not familiar with the term, what is Galaxy Point?
So Galaxy Point is reminiscent of Universe Points, also known as double game points, which is where both teams are on match points. So say it's games 15, both teams are on 14, but in this case, half is to 8. So both teams are on 7. So whoever scores the next point will be taking the half.
You want to give yourself that extra advantage coming into the second half. For Dead Circus, this could be doubly important because they're receiving to start the second half. So if they can hold here, just calmly work this upwind, they'll then be receiving coming out at half as well, so they can go do the old 2 for none as the disc rolls out the back of the end zone again, meaning they get 2 possessions without King Louie having the disc.
Some poor soul who's going to be cleaning out those trenches at the end of this week is going to find a plethora of discs.
Good job, we've got a team of volunteers here. 120 volunteers from 20 different countries helping to make WMUCC a success. Truly an international event with some wonderful Irish hospitality as well. High stall for Cowper-Smith, but he gets it off to Gavin Gray. Galaxy Point underway. Gray really rifles this downfield. Cowper-Smith bids, doesn't get there. Jarvis knocks it to turf. Larson calling for cool and calm. Brennan jogs towards the disc and the bearded Brennan picks up. Nice centering pass, gains a few yards to Jarvis. Towards the break side, oh, the cheek of the push pass from Alan Jones to George Brell. King Louie break on Galaxy Point to make us back on serve. Going into the second half, your halftime score is King Louie 8, Dead Circus 7, and this matchup so far has certainly not disappointed.
A scintillating first half. It's been nothing but excitement back and forth. We've seen huge hucks, we've seen amazing bids from both teams, and I can guarantee that there will be more of that in the second half.
Yeah.
Red Circus will be receiving on offense in the second half.
Yeah, receiving going downwind to try and tie it up, and there you see it again. The window is open, and he does not hesitate, and he couldn't, because if he did, it would have closed. So almost instinctually, Jones with the push pass for the goal to put them back in front. So half-time, the teams get a little bit of an extended break to talk tactics, get a little bit of extra throwing in, get some water on board, stretch off, hydrate, do whatever it is they need to do, and we highly recommend you do the same at home, because you want to be right back here on stream for the second half of this Open Masters pre-quarter final. King Louie 8, Dead Circus 7. We'll see you in a few minutes' time.
Michonne picks up, and they've got a short field. They've got another goal. It's tied up at 12. I cannot believe what I'm seeing
Can
here.
Lola Dam chase that one down?
That is a score for Hartlicker Elferkel. Fantastic run by Julia Lutz.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge.
And we believe that requires knocking down the paywall.
We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch, and we want them to go viral.
When you become a member, you enable us to improve our working relationships with tournament organisers, events and federations.
And you'll help us to produce live stories for Ultimate fans, and to generate new fans with our enhanced content.
We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts, and we want to bring you coverage on a more consistent basis. We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Ciao ragazzi, support the community.
And subscribe Ulti TV. There's lots of the videos, posting, everything. Check it out. They are the best one. Woo!
If you want to grow Ultimate Sports, become a member of Ulti TV.
Regardez Ulti TV. Deviens membre d'Ulti TV et fais grandir ta communauté.
Top Ulti TV دلمه eroginkime Ultimate Vendromene.
Si quieres ayudar a Ulti TV, puedes ser miembro de Ulti TV.
Everyone, follow Ulti.tv on Instagram, on YouTube. They've got everything.
Best content.
Like their pictures if you love free speech. Just do it.
We're counting on you.
Bli medlem på Ulti TV.
Became member of Ulti TV.
Mamma mia.
Contribue au développement d'Ultimate avec Ulti TV.
Like and subscribe. Ulti TV, the best in the world.
We want to grow Ultimate.
we want to grow Ultimate. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We have our signature style 2-camera setup,
With thousands of hours of experience,
and our crew is globally dispersed to facilitate coverage everywhere around the world. We can also scale back our broadcast with just one elevated camera, or scale up with 2 fields, 2 cameras, and 2 commentators on each.
we work with local teams and we all have the same mission, to grow the sport and bring it to new people by providing live coverage and new stories.
Become a member today on our Patreon page.
And fund our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories, ideas and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
To make it even nicer, I'll call Louie. Louie D, not me. Louie D, not me. Do it for the team!
Welcome back to the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships here in Limerick in the southwest of Ireland. Ben Sheary's alongside Gigi Moderison, bringing you action from the Masters Open division. And we've got pre-quarterfinal action with King Louie up against Dead Circus, and the Americans lead the Canadians by 8-7 going into the second half. Gigi, if I could just get you to give like a simple summary of that first half, what would it be?
Spicy.
Nice, all right, done.
No, there was a lot of back and forth in between some of the points. Both teams have gotten at least 2 breaks. Both teams have gotten 2 breaks. In fact, looking at the stats sheets, King Louie coming out on offense initially. Dead Circus managed to get their first break, but King Louie answered back with their own. They were trading up until about 7-7 where we had Galaxy points, and then King Louie managed to get their second break in for the second half.
So 8-7 on serve going into the second period of this game. Hello to everyone watching at home on the World Flying Disc Federation YouTube channel. We are delighted to be presenting this coverage that is free all week, and as well as being able to watch it live for free, you can watch it for free on demand for posterity at your leisure as well. Sometimes we're too good to you. Second half begins with Cowper Smith striding to the disc, clearing out that space to get Thorne a little bit of room to work with underneath. Thorne wants to dish that up line cut, but the stall count rising. The force gets trapped too far around, and it thunks right off the chest of Archibald.
Yeah, Archibald was almost anticipating the next pass, wanting to get it right into his chest, but didn't pay attention to the fact that he could have had a second attempt at getting it back.
Neither side has led by more than 1 point in this contest. Here's King Louie's opportunity to get the first 2-point lead of the game. Nice layout to save it as well from Brennan. Brennan looking into the backfield where he finds Ashman. Ashman to Jones, who wants to dish off. No, he wants to bang it instead, and he bangs it to Burrell at the back of the end zone. There's the break. King Louie do take that 2-point lead, and a big old hip bump afterwards as well. It is 9-7 to the Americans.
That was an absolute ripper in towards the back end of the end zone. King Louie showing exactly what kind of offense they're wanting to play. Again, very North American style. We've spoken about it before. Quick pop passes in between the handlers. Big, long striding cuts coming under. And then whenever somebody's in a good power position, just wanting to absolutely send it deep.
And the reason it works is because of the timing. You're dishing it off to the handler, you're looking up, and that cut's already begun. They've already created a little bit of separation, so they don't have to hold, they don't have to hesitate. They can get it out there quickly, put it into space, rather than trying to put it right on someone who's already too deep. And King Louie execute it well there. 9-7. Long live the King.
Yeah, so for anyone that might actually be curious about King Louie as a team, they are based out of St. Louis, Louisiana. This is in reference to the Louisiana Purchase from 1803.
Yeah, $15 million the USA paid France to acquire the territory of Louisiana, which is larger than what the current state of Louisiana is now. You can maybe be able to see on the jerseys the fleur-de-lis as well, which is obviously very prominent in St. Louis flag as well, I think. Low out to space. 2 players bid, Archibald and Hankey wipes the floor with it.
A very clean bid from Hankey. Absolutely no contact in between the players, or at least nothing to constitute a foul.
Throws a bit behind Larson, but he makes the catch anyway. And he goes back to Morgan. Cheeky into the center of the pitch. Love that, getting a little bit of creativity despite the wind. Good snag and taking advantage there on the end zone line. The wind really whipping up. Can they find the way into the end zone?
There seems to be an uncontested foul call in the end zone.
We'll see it again here on the replay. Larson wants the high release. I don't know if he ever has that. And I think they're calling it just a contested foul or a contested strip. So it's going to go back into the hands of Larson here. But all resolved quickly and happily and amicably.
Quite jinky cuts from St. Louis in the front end of the end zone here.
And on the high stall, just a question of get it out of the hands and hope, I think. A really unorthodox blackhand blade, but it just about did the trick. And it's another break for King Louie to lead 10-7, although the way no one celebrated, it felt kind of underwhelming. Maybe because they felt that they got away with it a little bit there.
Yeah, Larson seems to have a holster full of spicy shots like that. We've seen a few of them coming out already, but St. Louis starting to pull away from this. It'll be interesting to see how Dead Circus are going to answer to that.
Yeah, whoever the ringleader is on that Dead Circus roster has got to try and find a way of firing up the troops.
The sun's coming out as well. Really hope that you are enjoying the coverage as much as we are.
I know the description in the YouTube video says welcome to Sunny Sunny Limerick. Maybe Sunny Sunny is overstating it, but it is at least sunny.
I'm going to have to wear some sunglasses soon.
Mine broke at London Invite last weekend, so I'm currently without a pair after my previous pair got eaten by the Mediterranean Sea. I should stop bringing sunglasses to tournaments is my summary. It never ends well. Larson stops the roll. And it's going to be Cowper Smith with those white undersleeves to pick up. Goes underneath to Thorne. Thorne continues it down there. Gerard. Low. Gray catches. Pops that one past the mark. It floats slightly, although not a problem for Archibald. Jones is on the deck, but picks himself up again. Low. James goes to ground to secure the snag. Into Gerard. Gerard looking for an option. Yeah, that's a pick downfield. It is very cluttered and congested in that centre space.
Cluttering does tend to happen whenever the stakes get a bit higher. Dead Circus wanting to frantically move, generate some more cuts.
Cowper Smith is right on the sideline there. Getting that idiosyncratic inside forehand fake. And he sails this throw. Fortunately for Circus, Thorne is there to pick it up anyway. Cowper Smith skips up line. He's looked off. Reset into the backfield, back to Archibald. Gives it off to Cowper Smith. Faking that backhand to the forehand side. And goes for the forehand, James. This is a disciplined red zone defense here from King Louie. Puts a little bit of air underneath this one, not a problem for Gerard. Did the right thing going for the clap catch with the height of the disc varying so quickly, and then the high release backhand break to James. Patience is indeed a virtue for Dead Circus as they make it 10-8.
Despite the really tight defense from King Louie, Dead Circus now able to get themselves another hold. The first point of the second half for them.
They were 7-6 up at one point, and then King Louie scored 2 going into half and 2 coming out of half, 4 in a row to make it 10-7. And now Dead Circus trying to chip away at that lead. This is a good start. Again, just, you know, trusting the systems, taking the open passes, knowing that eventually they'd find that opportunity. And I think it's Thorne that finds James at the front of the end zone for the goal.
James starting to rack up a lot of stats under his name.
Yeah, 3 goals, an assist and a block in this contest, which is not bad going, to be honest.
Definitely pretty good. Remember, you can reach out to us. We do try and keep an eye on the YouTube comments, but also if you wanted to reach us throughout personally, I am on Instagram. I am _GG17, so it's GWGWE. And Benji?
I kind of do not really use Instagram. Best place is probably Twitter, at Benjamin Rees. At the moment, King Louie just playing it in the backfield. Pops up slightly, but not a problem for Wojtek. And the layout bid doesn't quite get there, but you can see there's a bit more intensity and intentionality in the Dead Circus defense now. This one put deep from Hanky, and what a put deep as well. Right down Broadway, down the center of the park. Finds the target in the end zone. Another goal for Alan Jones, makes it 11-8. I think that's his 4th goal to go along with 2 assists, Alan Jones, having himself a day.
Both of the bearded men in the end zone showing each other some respect, but let's talk about that throw for the assist. The high release flick, that is a throw that dreams are made of. That is the kind of thing that you think about throwing all the time. Just look at that execution. It sails right into the receiver's chest.
It just sits it on the wind, doesn't try to fight it, just puts a tiny little bit of shape on there. Lovely stuff from the hand of Hanky. 11-8, King Louie lead now. The winner gets a place in the Masters Open quarterfinals. Dead Circus, though, certainly not out of this contest yet. King Louie ready to pull. It's the gloved hands of George Brell. Tries to power it against the wind. And it lands and rolls and spins slightly back towards the defending end zone. Again, Cowper-Smith, as always, it seems, to pick up after the turn. And Cowper-Smith wants to go big as well, floating it towards the end zone. And Route 1 ultimate. Pick it up, huck it, score, job done.
It must be so tempting to see James streaking down the pitch and think, you know what, I'm going to have that. That's going in my bread basket. I'm going to have that on the stats sheet. And James, again, racking in more stats for himself, getting another score for Dead Circus.
I mean, actually, that's what Dead Circus would love to do, because they know they're going to have to get some breaks, but they can't do that unless they put their offense in. And what better way to put the other team under pressure by picking it up and scoring in literally one pass.
I just tried to shout out my Instagram and just finding out the Instagram's actually down. So I am not contactable until it is back up. You can still message me whenever you want to, feel free.
Yeah, carrier pigeon, smoke signal.
But maybe in retrospect.
Yeah.
Or retroactively is probably the more correct term.
I got the gist. What is the gist, by the way? How can you guess it? I'll have to do some research into the etymology later.
Welcome to philosophy with Benji Reese.
You know I do have a philosophy degree, right?
I did not know that, thank you.
Yeah, it's about as useful as my sports broadcast journalism degree. Oh, actually, no, wait, I'm using that one now. I can't use that one anymore. Underneath now is Hanky. Wants to be a bit less expansive with his options this time. Towards the sideline and continuing his Eshman into the end zone for Larson. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, indeed. 12-9. Quick and effective.
That was ridiculously tight defense, though. Got to give absolute credit. Every single disc was battled for. King Louie, whilst they made the offense look easy, it was not by any means. You can see how close the force is there. And then again, the defender having to blast through, giving any sort of opportunity to stop King Louie from scoring again.
Yeah, King Louie were the last USA team to get a spot to Limerick to compete here in the Open Masters division. So not necessarily as large a roster as some of the other teams here. They've had to get some people in from out of state or had moved away. But they've generally, that core of the teams played together for a good few years, so they don't tend to call necessarily set plays as much as give a rough idea of what they're doing and just try and let it flow and play organically.
I have just gotten a message on Instagram. Thank you very much, Teresa, for correcting me. I don't know my states, apparently. St. Louis is Missouri, not Louisiana. I don't know my fruits, but states.
Missouri, the show me state, I think they call it. I mean, not in the sense of show me like Finland, other show me. Don't worry about it. Putting that one deep, a couple of players there, and that meant that there were a couple of defenders there as well, and George Brell knocks it to the ground. Chance for King Louie to just extend this lead and exacerbate Dead Circus's pain ever further.
The wind is definitely picking up a fair bit more now. It's getting quite blustery, not a consistent wind at all.
Yeah, not a great time to go against the wind here, but so far, King Louie doing it pretty effectively. Marciniak finds Hanky. Hanky again trying to open up the arm, and the two defenders combine. Brell, I think, making a call here. James the defender. Must admit, right down on this sideline, I didn't get a great shot of it, but we'll look at it again on the low angle replay.
Very hotly contested, but King Louie might have felt that James had gotten a bit too much on the back shoulder.
With the angle they're going, and we're basically staring right at the back, it's always difficult to judge how much contact there is, I find. There is a game advisor there that they can ask for extra perspective or clarification. And it's an uncontested foul. Brell will bring it to the front of the end zone. Nice conflict resolution.
It's under WFDF rulings. If it had been an uncontested strip, King Louie would have gotten the score there.
But yeah, Brell never had control of it. Uncontested foul. Keeps possession but brings it to the front of the end zone. Wojtek, in this whipping Irish wind, goes short to Jones. Trying to add to his ever-growing stat sheet. A pick in the centre of the stack.
That was a big cluster of humans all rummaging around together.
The long, lean Archibald checks in. Around back to Brell. Brell gets a little bit of air underneath it. Tipped and bobbled and knocked to the floor. That was the opportunity, but it didn't stick. What will Cowpersmith do? Play it short? Yeah, nice. Comfortable under that one to James. James continues to Trevor. Dished off. Here's Gavin Gray. What an inside flick that is, but maybe a little bit too much Tabasco on it. And Trevor couldn't reel it in as Hanky calls the timeout. I think they sense the value of the upwind break here, and King Louie want to go in for the kill, and they're taking the timeout to ensure they do so.
It's definitely a good option. There have been a fair few turns, some errant shots, maybe wanting to refocus a little bit. And just as the players take a quick timeout, we will also take a quick break, so we'll see you in a few.
Welcome back to Limerick, the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships. Open Masters pre-quarter-final action. King Louie have the disc, looking to make it 13-9 against Dead Circus from Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. Oh, this throw is floaty, and the big man got up, but just couldn't reel it in. Was looking for Henry, but instead it only found the floor.
But the cross-pitch huck was an interesting option.
Yeah, certainly not one I would have gone for, perhaps, but you know, sometimes you don't always get the execution right, and you know, you've got the height out there of Henry. He's always tempting to hang it up there. Trevor, off the sideline, Gray with a brilliant upline cut, leaves the defender in his dust. Both handlers clear out. There's got to be a poach somewhere. It's deep. Can they find it? Wants to blade towards the back of the end zone. A touch too much. It should have been there for Trevor. He realised the poach and exploited it brilliantly, and then just needed a little more finesse on the throw.
They were gifted a wide open receiver that gave a little too much spin. Bit too much mustard on that one.
So, another turnover. Larson picks up, swings laterally, and now they're getting some good yard gaining passes here. Burrell swinging it around the back of King Louie. Nice little pop to the handler coming through, surveying the field, and Burrell takes off and leaves the disc behind him. Cowper-Smith picks up. I think they were maybe thinking about calling the timeout, but they get enough time to set what they want anyway. Over the head, and Thorne got caught too far underneath the disc and couldn't read it.
That was exactly the right option. Thorne had the deep space free to himself, but Cowper-Smith overcooking that backhand.
Jarvis picks up and goes short. Jones back to Larson, yes. All sailing and floating. Went for the greatest attempt. I'll tell you what, I think it would have been valid if he could complete it, but in this wind, that is so tricky, especially with the disc so low to the ground.
100%, if only the receiver had been a little bit more aware.
And tough throw to catch, but you've got to love the hustle and the endeavour there shown. Trevor. Short to Gray, now Archibald. Swinging around the back. Couple of players, 3 players in fact, all want that same space, and they cover each other up. The offense looking a little confused and discombobulated, not making it obvious who's entitled to which space. James goes wide, too wide. Thorne lays out but doesn't get there.
That one did look like it hurt a little bit, might have given it a bit too much of a winding.
Especially on a long point like this. Yeah, landing on that solar plexus, and that throw sails, and Marciniak can't make it. And Cowper-Smith, I think, very understandably, calls the timeout with the point dragging on, and players kind of maybe a little bit gasping for breath. Gives us an opportunity to catch ourselves in the booth as well, but don't go anywhere, because the conclusion of this game follows after these messages. Welcome back to the University of Limerick for the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships. You're joining us in the middle of an Open Masters pre-quarter final matchup. King Louie against Dead Circus. Dead Circus bringing in the disc off the timeout. Archibald goes up line. Faked and reset instead. Gray on this marathon point goes underneath. Martin James. Cheeky little inside throw there. Pierre Daigle all zips it past the bidding defender. Eshman gets back onto his feet. It is all very tense and tight near this attacking end zone. Archibald looking for an option. Resets back to Daigle. Daigle to Archibald. Now they're trying to find a bit of space on this break side. High release backhand executed to perfection. Finally the whole point ends as Prisa catches to make it 12-10.
Dead Circus must be absolutely elated with having finally scored that point. I can imagine that King Louie must also be relieved that at least the point is over. They can get some fresh legs on an already very small roster. They don't have much of a turnaround.
No, there'd only been 2 turnovers this half up until that point. In that point, each team alone had 5. It was a struggle at times, but Dead Circus, as you say, will be ecstatic, elated, relieved to try and close the gap there, because 13-9 is a huge ask to come back from. But 12-10, it does feel like game on still.
Archibald very much leading the charge in that last possession there, getting the disc moving as much as possible. King Louie now working downwind on offense. Will they make it a comfortable 1 possession point?
Generally, that was how it had gone in this half, up until, of course, the last point, which threw everything we thought we knew right up in the air, where, of course, the wind blew it to high heaven. Strong pull into the wind. Lands level with the brick mark. Eshman comes underneath. Eshman shooting deep. They've got a target there in Brennan. Well, it wasn't 1 pass, but I don't think 2's that bad, to be honest. 13-10.
Still only 1 possession, but that was perfect. King Louie absolutely showing offensive prowess, utilizing the deep space really well, getting a pull play worked off as quickly as possible.
It's about the timing and the synergy there. Just getting the undercut, catching it, turning downfield. Deep cutter's already gone, and the throw is always going to go there. The question is just, can Eshman get the rate of it right? And Eshman finds Brennan for the goal to bring King Louie within 2 points of the quarterfinals.
We still have 22 minutes left of regulation game time. I doubt that we will be using all of those 22 minutes.
I would be surprised.
Because even if Dead Circus are able to make a comeback, and if they were to both trade off into Universe Point, that probably won't take the whole 22 minutes. But please do stay tuned for the entirety of this game. We also have a lot more coverage coming up for you today. We have 1 more round of games on this pitch. Later on, we have Magic Toast versus Ensom. And then on pitch 1, we have Royal Stag versus Warao from Venezuela.
Here's Cowper Smith for Dead Circus. Underneath is Daigle. Daigle, he wants to shoot deep as well. Oh, this is a skyscraper of a throw, and Archibald answers the call. 13-11.
Skyscraper of a throw for a skyscraper of a human being. That is a very tall order. Very well received, well read. You could see him having to adjust a few times, making sure that he managed to box out his defender. And converting for Dead Circus to bring them up to 13-11. We just get another look at that offensive play.
It just makes that last point so much stranger. The one where there was 5 turnovers aside, because on the following points afterwards, both sides have put it in just 2 passes. Ultimate, man. Weird sport at some points. Seeing some young spectators watching on this lovely grassy bank behind us. On the other side is kind of the natural amphitheatre surrounding pitch 1, our other streamed pitch here today. Matches that we've moved over from fields 2 and 3 yesterday. They were being rested so we don't churn up the Gaelic football pitches. And field 11 looking pretty immaculate, especially when you consider the deluge of water that rained down here earlier in the week.
And a little bit this morning, but not too much.
No, mercifully, it's not been anywhere near as bad. Bit of zone here, perhaps, from Dead Circus, throwing something different at them late on. There's a saying that good teams don't lose without playing zone, because it just shows that you're trying everything in your locker. So why not give it a go, Gigi?
100%. Definitely a really strong poachy look, trying to shut down the initial deep options, and a scooper over the top. Very well received.
What the heck? That shouldn't have worked, and the high release flick again. Oh, if that had come off, I'd have flipped my lid, man. I wanted to use something a lot more colourful than that. This is a family stream. Blading, upline for Daigle. Daigle jacking it into the wind again. This one might invite some defenders and some bodies underneath it. Rising above the massive humanity is Tyler Smith. Roofs the pack. Back to Daigle. Daigle centering pass to Mascarin. Mascarin still not in the end zone now. Dennis thinks about the up line. Oh, it's ugly. And maybe because there's a foul on the throw.
A little bit too much contact on the scuba attempt.
Yeah, he sees it coming, but knocks it out of the hand.
But that sky earlier on
My
was
word.
immense.
Talk about trust your receiver. This one looking for the inside flick. Daigle, there was just enough pressure late. Was there, or was there contact? Uncontested foul. The spirit between both sides this game has looked, from our perspective, to be very good.
Majoritively from this tournament, the spirit has been impressive. A lot of teams showing each other great deals of respect.
And that's what spirit of the game is based upon. That mutual respect. The shot into the end zone is behind from Daigle, and it is greedily gobbled away from King Louie. Big gainer downfield to Jones. And, ooh, Gerard goes off holding that hamstring. And as someone who has pulled a hamstring in the past, let me tell you, that really hurts.
Yeah, Gerard was one of the players involved within the big Skyball cluster. So I am not too surprised that he is reeling from that a little bit.
Do you want to see it again?
Of course.
There you go.
Thank you.
It's just silly, isn't it? What a play by Tyler Smith. That one comes through. Looked quite strippy to me. And quickly uncontested.
The array of different hand signals that we are seeing that are not the correct hand signals is very interesting.
Everyone got the point, I think. Larson going short. Hankey wants to hop it in and does so. 14-11, King Louie 1 point away from victory.
And knocking on the door of this game. Dead Circus very much not out of it though. They are continuing to fight and push through. A lot of clean possessions that we've seen. We saw that big arcing shot earlier on in the points, but King Louie just able to maintain composure and throw in some spice. Fantastic passing down the field. High release backhand. And another one again, hopped into the end zone, bringing them closer to the end of this game.
It's do or die now for Dead Circus. If King Louie score, it's game over. They need to score every single point. See if Dead Circus can bring on the entrance of the Gladiators. Brennan gets ready to pull. Again, you're seeing what an effect the wind has, really preventing it from getting any huge distance. Cowper Smith. Archibald towards the sideline. You can see the pressure as that throw is turfed. This could be it.
The wrong edge of that disc facing into the wind, sending it right into the grass.
Story picks up. Fires the flick towards the far sideline for Mackenzie. Mackenzie back central into the hands of Story. Swinging around the back with Wojtek. And Wojtek finds Jarvis. Jarvis wants the inside flick. James was ready and waiting and pounced. Cowper Smith. He's got the underneath throw there. Finds it. Gray looking at the end zone. Doesn't like what he sees. So takes the reset instead. Continuation around. Archibald wants to milk it into the end zone. Doesn't quite have enough distance for that, but can follow up. Good timing and the break side continuation into the back of the end zone for Trevor to make it 14-12.
Archibald wanting a little taste of scoring right at the front of the end zone, but as you said, didn't quite have enough, so instead took the assist stat. Dead Circus looking on top form again on that point. Still not far off of bringing this game level.
Just that King Louie purple patch either side of half time. The difference between these two sides. They were 6-7 down, scored 2 on the bounce to take half 8-7, and then 2 immediately out of half time to make it 10-7. They've traded since then. If you're Dead Circus, you need to find your first break of the second half, and you need to find it now.
And just to give some context as to the performances of both of these teams coming into this game, King Louie have only lost 2 games, once to Johnny Encore and once to Still. Both of those teams performing extremely well in the tournament so far. Dead Circus have lost to Royal Stag and Hardfish. Again, 2 other teams that are really high up in the rankings throughout the tournament.
Finished on top of a 3-way tie for second in the pool. King Louie finished 3rd in their pool, so pulling potentially the minor upset here if they can go downwind and hold. The zone coming back out for Dead Circus. Popped in for Jones. Jones finds that space, exploits it brilliantly. Hankey. Jarvis, no, pops it instead to Jones. Jones wants to play to the end zone, and he's got it! He's found Marciniak for the score. For Dead Circus, it's a case of send in the clowns. But King Louie, oh, we do. I want to be like you. They take their place in the quarters. 15-12, the final score.
The King Louie must be absolutely ecstatic about that win. Not only have they achieved their goal in making the top 16, but they are now into the quarterfinals. But congratulations also to Dead Circus. You are in the top 16. That was an immaculate performance. Only a few errors making King Louie squeak away and take that win. Very well-spirited game. Top quality ultimate. That was fantastic.
Yeah, a real display of what this tournament's really been about. High quality ultimate games played in good spirit. Really putting on a show for the fans out there watching at home. It's been an absolute pleasure to call it. And Dead Circus will try and fight their way, see if they can take ninth spot. But King Louie, it is the quarterfinals ahead of them. Thank you very much for watching here on the WFDF YouTube channel. A reminder that this broadcast is copyright 2022 of the World Flying Disc Federation. From all of us here at the University of Limerick, for our Ulti TV crew, for Gigi Morrison, I am Benjamin Rees, saying we will see you on the other side when we've got Magic Toast versus Ensign.
fáilte.tv.
Yeah, I appreciate the comments. Maybe it's